everyone, and today we are going to be building the famous lost city of Atlantis. The idea from this actually came a very long time ago when I was making the Hanging Gardens of Babylon, which is up on my channel if you want to watch it. And I remember people, I think my boyfriend said to me, "Oh, you should do the city of Atlantis too," and I thought, don't be crazy. There's no way I could be able to do that. Yeah, a few months on, here I am making it. But I actually managed to do it. It included a lot of circles, as you can probably see me building right now. And I've used them into sort of semicircles and runes and put them together. But if you guys want me to do a tutorial on how to do good circles in The Sims, let me know, because this isn't the first time I've used a lot of circles. I also made the Colosseum. You're more than welcome to see that build. But for this build I built into the ground, and I've noticed that this is something that quite a lot of people have been doing on The Sims recently, just because of the lack of floors that we've got. But I think the very first person I saw do it was Simoniona, maybe, and I've done a build where I've dug into the ground before, and I think Hattie Sims and a whole load of other people have also done it too. So yeah, so that's what I'm doing right now. And although I dig into the ground, it's to make sort of the pools and the bridge work and all of that kind of stuff that you see in a lot of the concept art pictures of Atlantis. And that's what I had to use, because it is a mystical, I don't know, city or castle or whatever you want to call it, and no one's actually seen it, or people have said that they've seen it, but really no one's seen it, so we don't actually know what it was supposed to look like. There are lots of different ideas, but this is what I've gone for. I went for one of the most like a couple of the most popular ones on Google Image, just so that I'd get it right. And I've also made this build will be in two parts, so I'm doing the outside right now, and then there'll be a video for the inside as well. And after that, I'm also doing, I don't know if you guys have seen the Disney movie for Atlantis. It has a longer name, I'm not sure what it is, but the Disney movie for Atlantis, I've made all the characters for it, so that'll be a CAS video coming up, so you could play with the Atlantis characters in Atlantis. That was my idea. As you can see now, I've kind of done the lower levels and I'm going on to the upper levels, and I'm putting in these railings. I really like these railings. I think they're fleured or something, I don't know, but I think they're really cool. I've used them in quite a lot of my builds before, especially ancient ones, because they're just so detailed. You don't really get that with quite a lot of other ones. But you will see I have put in a tremendous amount of objects in this build, like a ridiculous amount. I've never put in this many objects in a build before, and so some of you with slower computers or not as high graphics, this build actually might struggle on your computer somewhat. So I suggest, if you are going to use it, to use like a lower quality or something, because my computer was struggling a little bit with just the amount of columns I put in this build. Oh my goodness, ridiculous amount. But you'll see now, I didn't want to show you all of me building that, because it would be we'd be here for hours literally, because that's how long it took me. But so what I did is I made like a small section, like maybe this is like an eighth of the size of what the whole circle. I just did this small section on camera for you, so you could see all the things that I did, so that those who want to see all of the things that I do in this build, they're still happy, but at the same time, you guys aren't bored to death with the vast amounts of pillars I put in. But as you can see, I kind of made these like columns with the pillars going down that kind of look like supports and holding it up, and I also put these windows by the pools to kind of, so that from far away you could still see the water, and it made it look more like there was water there. So that was kind of the idea behind it, but I feel like I would have wanted to include more water in this, but unfortunately we can't actually put water on the bottom level. So Had we had more levels, then maybe that would have been possible, but it wasn't quite. But you'll see later I get around that with a sneaky little trick. I also try out a few different sort of, I guess, sneaky tricks in this build, which I've never used before, which get around a few problems, including waterfalls. You might have seen I've put waterfalls in my builds before. I got around a way of making that look a little bit more realistic, and a few other things, so stick around and you'll see that at the end. But right now I'm actually building the castle itself, or the city. I try and make it look partially like a castle, or like a city kind of tumbling on top of each other and growing up taller, and maybe there being a castle in the middle. But of course we don't have city-sized lots in The Sims, and I don't have the time to build an entire city, to be fair. Can you imagine how long that would take? Like a city, but like this, and how many pillars I would have had to put in for a thing that's that big. It'd be ridiculous. I wouldn't blame any of you for not wanting to watch that. But so I tried my best to make things look like it was much bigger than it was, and that it was kind of like a city, but was actually still livable and was a realistic, size. But you'll see here I've got lots and lots of towers, and we do some cool stuff with roofing, and the roofing will be kind of like a bronzy gold, and most of the build will be blue, and I'll add in water features and all sorts of things. But we kind of jump around. At the moment I'm building sort of the outline of what's going to be there, and I think I do a little bit of roofing, but I do go back to it and finish that off later. But you'll see me doing that after I've finished my the landscaping and all of those pillars and stuff like that. But yeah, so this is the big tower that is kind of like the centerpiece, and this was in all of the pictures that I saw. There was like a big centerpiece like this, so I wanted to do it justice, and I put these big sort of pillars on it, or points, spiky things, and I wanted to maybe make it look kind of out of this world, but maybe like Greek inspired or ancient castle inspired, or I don't know what it was. I just tried my best, following some pictures for inspiration and my own ideas to make it look good. So then here I'm adding in some more water where I can. So I'm kind of doing this in the living area, or where the Sims actually will spend their time, and sort of, I guess this would be like a garden or patio area, because this build is actually a house and a bar and a nightclub and a lounge and a cafe and a restaurant. You can put it as any, or like a hangout area. I've done stuff from the movie Hangout Pack. And it would be really easy to expand this even bigger if you wanted to, and make it into all different types of lots. There are actually big amounts of spaces on the basement levels that I've left out, so you can add in a whole load of things down there if you want to. More bedrooms, whatever you want. And as you can see here, there's like a big gap in the middle, and you can build staircases down there, and they can go and swim in these pools if you want, because it's just the ones up on that bit where I was talking about before, where they can go swimming at the moment. There's all sorts of things that you could do with this lot. It's got loads and loads of potential. So yeah, so I'm putting in the windows, and I wanted to make them next to the pool. I wanted to make them the archways, like the normal archways, but for some reason I even had move objects on, but for some reason it wouldn't let me put the doors or the archways next to the water, which was really quite frustrating. So instead I put windows there. It kind of gave the same effect, but you do get the sort of railing. And this is the thing I was talking about. What I did is, when you're really close up, you can kind of see that this is tiling on the floor, but from any form of distance it just looks like water. It doesn't look like it's a cheat or anything, it just looks like water from far away. And I made sure to make sure that all of the water had a very similar colour, and changed the colourings and the flooring and the walls of the pool so that it was really similar, so that really blended in. That was my intention anyway. As you can see from sort of a distance, if you didn't know, that it was just on the ground. And also I have the grid on here, so it makes it even more apparent that it's not actually water. But from any form of distance, it actually looks really, really good. But as you can see, I've done you can see all the pillows that I've done here, and I'm just going in and I'm filling in the pool areas, or pool and inverted commas areas that I've put in here. And I put like a little fence round that was like stone. I didn't want to actually put stone in there because and make it look more natural, I guess, because again with the objects there would just be too many with the other things that I planned, because I put rocks around the side of this area as well. So yeah, so there were lots of things, and so I thought that actually from a distance that does kind of look like rock, and also it made it so much easier just to fill in that area with the floor coverings which I want. You'll see with this little section I put on these sort of roofing things. This was directly from inspiration of one of the pictures that I saw, but actually I got rid of this and this turns into a water feature, but I wanted to show you. I thought it kind of looked quite funny. It didn't look quite right. It reminded me of, like, you know, the big fluffy collars people used to have in the olden days, like you see like Shakespeare and like people from Tudor times and stuff with those big ruffly collars. It kind of looked like that to me. So I was like, no way I'm going to include that. But I'm putting in a whole lot of windows here. I just wanted to show you how I sort of picked them. I went through loads of different options. I went for this one for a while. I didn't pick it in the end though. We go for something quite different. But this is me just sort of experimenting with it now, and we kind of changed that area a little bit before the end. I think it personally looks better, but if you want to change it back to this, feel free. Those are base game windows, I think, so I really suggest having more than just a base game for this build. I apologise, but as you can probably imagine, with a build this big I'd have to use things from several different packs. But yeah, so it would be very difficult for me to do that. But if you don't have the packs which I got the other ones from, I think I used one from Get to Work, but the other one's base game. But you can use those ones if you prefer them. But am I going on to the rest of the roofs here? I think so. I'm adding these spiky things again. And I think that this sort of adds something to the roofing. It looks like something, but I can't think right now what I think it looks like. Like, like some sort of sea creature, crustacean thing. I just think it looks more, I don't know, like it should be under the sea when it's got those kinds of things. Or maybe it just looks more costly. Maybe that's what I'm thinking. But on these towers we just do these little round shapes. I've seen tutorials before on how to do roofing that looks almost smooth, but I wanted to actually have the texture this time and have sort of the bumps on it and stuff. I was going to spend ages with learning how to do that stuff, but maybe I can figure out a good way to do roofing for round or octagonal or whatever these are supposed to be shapes for you, if that's what you want, and maybe do the tutorial when I'm doing the circles for the shapes or something. I don't know. If you guys are interested in it, let me know. But as you'll see, I put like these little round domes that I guess would be like ventilation things, but I thought they added something to the spikes because they were the smaller ones. I just thought it looked a little bit better on some of those other things, made it look a little bit bigger, a little bit more pronounced. But they're slightly different colours, but I don't think that really matters that much. And then I don't know what it was about this one. I think it's this one anyway. One of them reminds me of a church roof, even though it doesn't look like a church roof. But I'm not sure why. I think it is this one. I don't know. I feel like it would look like good on a church. But a lot of this actually looks kind of not that Atlantis-y. It just looks like a castle for a while. But you'll see I added in some really cool stuff, and we actually used stuff from Get to Work from the alien thing, and I make it kind of look like sea weed or some sort of form of sea life creature, like things just growing on the castle itself, so it looks like it is underwater. That was my intention anyway. But here is what I was talking about with the new little pool area that I changed things, and I actually put water fountains, or sorry, not water fountains, like a waterfall down the side of the big tower that I've got here. But we can use these ones from Spa Day, and I used these as waterfalls in my Gardens of Babylon build. You would have, if you guys have watched some of my videos before, you would have seen me do that. But I just put some windows behind it where the pool is behind, so that it gives more of like a water look to it. And then what we do is, you'll see here, I got some of, and I moved them a bit to make it look a little bit better. But you'll see here that I actually used the glowing blue moss that you get from the alien pack and stack them up on top of each other on the edge, and it actually, from some angles, looks like water going over the edge and sort of cascading over that sort of section here, especially, I think. Sometimes it can look a little bit funny against the actual water fountain where it's a little bit darker, but I think I took such a long time thinking, oh, there's got to be something, there has to be something in build mode that I can get which will make it look like water is cascading over those edges, because they don't look right, they don't look like proper things, but at least it gives it a blue tint so it's not as obvious and it makes it look a little bit better. But we had some little flowers around the outside and some windows, and I think I use some items from the, what is it? It's the new one. Dine Out? That should be really easy for me to remember. Yeah, it's and it's like a lattice thing which we've got. We already have an item a bit like it, but it's like in a different shape and it's got like a glowy bit behind it. But that's the one I use. And also in these fountain areas, I put the new aquariums from Dine Out behind. And I sized them up so they look really big, and so you've got like all of the sort of sea creatures, and I actually put fish in there. Whether the fish are going to be there when you download it, but it's very easy for you guys to put in the fish if you want it. When you're up by the tower, you can see the fish floating around and swimming through the waterfall, which I thought was really, really cool. But yeah, so we're getting a general feel of what the castle, Atlantis city, whatever it's called, actually looks like now. And I'm going around sort of doing trimmings and windows and things like that. But yeah, I hope you guys are liking it so far. It took a lot of effort. I was thinking, oh, I'll do this build today, and then maybe I'll stop for a bit and do this other build, and then this other build, and then I got carried away with this, and I ended up just doing it for days and days and days. I was quite busy this weekend. I got to go and visit my boyfriend because we're long distance at the moment, and that was really, really lovely. So I didn't want to spend too much time playing Sims because I actually wanted to spend time with him. So I am a little bit behind on videos, and so that's why there has been a little bit of a gap. But I have made the promise that I'm going to get back up to, because I took that little bit of a break, didn't I, that I'm going to be releasing videos really, really, really often, or as often as I possibly can. But I kind of went a bit slack, didn't I, over those past week or so. I think a week. I think it's been less than a week, surely, since I've uploaded. I'm not sure. But anyway, I wanted to, get it as good as I could. But I've put some sort of blue trimmings on and some white trimmings on. I felt like it just sort of brings it all together. I'd say if you want to improve your builds, firstly, one of the things I see people do is that on roofing they don't put the line, the lining, and actually when I just put the roofs there and I layered them up on top of each other, they were doing the glitch thing, where they do all the lines when you move, and it looks really, really horrible, and that's from just overlapping roofs on top of each other. Like, I would have thought that the game would have been able to handle that. You know, that's what you're supposed to do with roofing, but apparently not. But if you change the trim of the roof to a certain colour or a thicker one, then it looks great, and it all looks put together. And if you've got all of them the same, it's like one of those really small touches. Most of the time people can build really, really well, but it's those really small little touches that kind of brings it together, in my opinion. But you'll see right now I'm doing sort of ivy and vines all over the build, and I was kind of, I was conflicted on which ones I was going to use, because we've got quite a lot. We've got the green ones, and originally I was going to just use the green, and then we've got the ones where they're kind of a blue tint, so I ended up using those, and I used the ones which have the white flowers on them, because I thought they kind of look like barnacles in between the bits of ivy. I think Hattie Sims did a video of Pirates of the Caribbean ship, and it was either she had said it or I'd said it in the comments, and then I don't know, she might have replied to me, but I said that it kind of looked like barnacles all growing on the side of the building. But you'll see at the moment what I'm doing is I'm putting in these sort of these alien things all around the build, and I think it looks like seaweed or some sort of sea plant or creature or something, but I think it really adds something to the build, and especially up on that tower. I was kind of talking through it, but once it's got all the vines on it and those things, I think it really brings the whole thing together and makes it look a lot more like Atlantis and not just a normal, castle. Although I don't know whether this is a normal castle. I think it's a little bit weird, but in a good way though. I'm quite happy with it. But I went round and I put in the sort of pond algae that we get, and I put that all over the floor. I've used that in quite a few of my builds, at least one of them before, and I did that again. And then to make it look more like Atlantis, I put in the sea anemone sort of seaweed things. I'm not sure what to call them. So I put that all around and kind of made it all, come together. I think that was the point where it started to look like Atlantis to me. But the way that I made this build a little bit easier is I used rooms and just copied the rooms and copied and pasted the rooms over and over again. And so that's what I did to get these little, it saved me a little bit of time, not a lot, but it saved me a bit of time. And that was how I got these sort of spikes coming off on each of the corners, I guess, of this. But yeah, that's the build pretty much done. Now we're going on to landscaping. So for the landscaping, I piled up some of these rocks that we got from, I think, it was Outdoor Retreat, wasn't it? And I piled them all up on top of each other and put them along the edge. And I knew that I was going to do this. I planned this quite early on, but I didn't want to do it because I thought, right, I need to build the rest of the build so that I know that with the amount of objects, at least my computer could run it. I didn't want to add too many that even my computer wouldn't be able to run it anymore. So that's why I waited until I'd actually finished the majority of the rest of the build on the outside. And then originally I also did the sort of plants and stuff like that really quite small, as you can see very quickly on the other side there. But in the end what I did is I sized up so that I would still fill the same amount of space, if not more space, but it would be less objects for you guys, and I actually think it looks pretty good. A lot of the time I put a lot of detail into my landscapes, and actually it was quite fun to be able to do it all sized up, and it was a bit of an easier route this time than from what I've done before. And as you can see, I'm actually just taking the objects that I'd already placed over on the other side and brought them across onto this side and sized them up to sort of make something new. And I also added in some new objects as well. Other than that, I don't know whether I added anything else. I don't think so. There are lots and lots of stuff that I've actually added in on the inside. So please, 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 if you have the time and the energy and you want to and you've enjoyed this build, I'd really appreciate it if you did go and see the other half of this build when it's uploaded. But that will have all of the inside, and I've made it really, really sort of sea themed, and it looks like it could really be under the ocean, or mermaids could live in there or something like that. But I really hope you like it. But anyway, I'm going to leave you there. Thank you very, very much for watching, and hopefully see you again soon.